Hey guys, and welcome to the Societal Lens. Today we will be discussing if the placebo effect could replace painkillers. I am here with Haley and Ruby in
Hello.
our smaller group.
And this is
Um,
our last episode, guys.
Bye.
this is
Well, we haven't actually discussed this yet.
no, this is a open topic. We'll see how that goes.
This might be our last one. It might not be.
it may
Wait and
not
find
be.
out, I guess.
It may be our last one, but not the Societal Lens's
The
last one.
Cave.
I thought it was
No,
convex.
convex.
The
We-
convex is the last one.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
The
cave.
convex's last
We're the
one.
convex ones.
But only a subsection of the convex group because it's a chemistry and psychology episode.
Yeah,
This
it's
is a new thing, and
special.
it's our last episode.
So,
It's
First
just-
and last one.
so you may ask, what are painkillers? Well, painkillers are medicines used to treat pain.
I'll be honest, I've never asked anyone what a painkiller is.
You know, most
what's a
people it's
painkiller?
intuitive to, but just in case. Now, what you may not know is that there are 3 types of painkillers. There
I
are
knew that.
because I told her before this.
No, you did not.
Well, what's an NSAID?
I know what an NSAID is.
That is one of the
It's called
types of
painkiller.
painkillers. NSAIDs have they're great. There are some examples that you'll recognize, such as ibuprofen and aspirin.
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen.
That's how other people say it.
So normal people say it.
Then there is paracetamol, which has its own little category, and then there's opiates such as morphine.
Opioids.
How
No,
do
no,
you-
opiates is the name for all opioids.
Really?
Yeah, I
They're
did
the
I did
same
a,
thing.
I did a googling
So-
on this.
It's
Sorry,
like, is it like
Is
estrogen,
the name for
estrogen?
all
And
opioids?
it may be
but
like estrogen,
Is
estrogen.
opioids not the name for all opioids?
I'm not sure, but it did put
He
in.
hasn't done
It
effective
said
research yet.
opioids brackets opiates.
So the same
So
thing.
I just went
So
with
the same
opiates
thing.
because it sounded more fancy. Anyway, the uses for them vary. NSAIDs are for inflammation related pain.
They're great for cramps, by the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
great for cramps. Also great for diseases such as arthritis.
I
when you have
haven't taken
inflammation.
ibuprofen in forever. I can't remember
I
the last
took
time I
some
took
on I took some
ibuprofen.
on Saturday.
Wow.
Sorry.
I hope you guys like that information. Just in case you want to use it. Paracetamol, mild to moderate pain. That's for more of your like headaches and such.
Yay, headaches! I
You
hate
probably
headaches
know
so
that
much.
one though.
I guess the ear infections.
That's good. to
That's
hear,
what I
actually.
take sometimes for my cramps, but not always.
Anyway, then the final category. No, I already said the final. No, I didn't. Opiates.
You
Opiates.
already said that.
No, but I didn't say what they're used for. They're used for.
for?
Great question, Haley. Moderate to severe pain. This is such as diseases such as cancer, which can help reduce the pain, or sickle cell anemia.
Okay. So, the placebo effect is a phenomenon that occurs when a fake medical intervention causes an improvement in a patient's condition. For example, taking sugar pills or something else along that line.
Tic Tacs.
I don't think someone would fall for Tic Tacs.
I was kidding about the TikTok.
I know people have done it before. The gummy bears.
Yeah, let me take my ibuprofen that's like tastes, is shaped like, and feels like a gummy bear, and that's definitely gonna cure my cramps.
I would believe it.
Nugget doesn't agree.
I would be happy with it as well. I feel like it would taste better. I'm continue.
You don't taste the ibuprofen, you
It
swallow it
doesn't taste
whole.
awful,
No, the
actually.
gummy bears I'm more.
Well, yeah, you don't taste. It doesn't taste. Everything tastes better than nothing. Wait, no, it's true. That's not true.
That's not true.
Do not take their advice, guys.
Don't like Brussels sprouts.
I don't mind Brussels sprouts.
Cauliflower, broccoli.
I love cauliflower,
No, it tastes like farts.
but I've actually never had it like. Wait, no, I have. That one time at Liv's party, I had it. Like fried cauliflower with katsu curry. It was
Ooh.
really nice. But then I mostly have it with cheese, and that's really good.
So that I'm not a fan of spinach.
I quite like spinach.
It's alright. I'm not.
Although this is coming from 2 people who have iron deficiencies.
That's just like grass though. That's just grass at that point though. Rocket.
Yeah.
Crockett.
I'll eat it because my mum doesn't like it and I want to prove a point to her.
What about courgettes though?
No.
Like
Oh,
those,
no.
those are my worst
My
enemies.
cousin, right? And she's not, I don't know, second cousin, something like that. We had chili together. We were eating chili, like a bowl of chili con carne. And she was like, "Oh, it's so spicy. It's probably the cucumbers."
Oh, I remember this.
And her dad was like, "Jazz, cucumbers aren't spicy. Because she was obviously referring to the courgettes, which also aren't spicy. So I don't know what she was talking about.
Wait, but people do have courgette cake, don't they, with like chocolate?
Courgette cake. Courgette cake isn't bad. Vegetable cakes aren't bad. Vegetables themselves, yes. I like carrot cake. Carrot cake is lovely, and I love carrot cake.
I've never had it, actually. I've never had a carrot cake, so you know.
I'm gonna force feed you carrot cake.
Wow, that is quite violent. Is that one of your top cakes then?
I just really like cake.
My top cakes. I love a Victoria sponge.
Banana bread. Banana bread is so good.
Well, I've never had banana bread.
I'm gonna force feed you banana bread.
You say this
I
every
agree with
time.
that.
I
That's
keep forgetting.
I'm controversial here though, to if this is a cake or not, but brownies.
Those aren't cakes.
Because
They're not cakes.
people have mixed
I love
things up.
cakes.
But also, I would have a birthday cake where it is just brownies.
So
I've
birthday
done-
brownies.
Yes, but it's my cake. It's
Okay.
a
So
replacement.
replacement.
'Cause I don't get cakes. I don't get like an alternative, you know.
You don't understand them?
Brownies are good though.
I don't believe in cakes.
What makes something a cake? Because could you just have a brownie in the shape of a cake? Yes. Like,
It's something to do with the baking ratios.
because surely if
I don't know the bus
I would have that cake
specific.
though. A brownie cake where you just cut a slice into it and you just
Okay.
get to.
An
That's
item of soft sweet food made from a mixture of flour, fat, eggs, sugar, and other ingredients, baked and sometimes iced for decoration.
To be honest, I think brownies can be cakes then.
And the cake ratio is not coming up.
Did you ask ChatGPT or Google?
No, I tried Google. I tried Google. I'm gonna do it on my phone.
Brownies are not classified as cakes.
That's
This
crazy.
is a very interesting point about the brownie.
What is the cake
Three.
ratio?
The reason for this is that although the texture is similar to cakes, it's classified as a finger food, whereas usually cake is eaten with a fork.
But I disagree because it's big enough. That you
So
can have
it's
it with a
1 cup of
fork.
butter, 2 cups of sugar,
As a
3 cups of flour, and 4 eggs. Eggs.
It's a lot of eggs.
That is a lot of eggs.
For a cake.
Yeah.
Some people
It's
eat cakes
supposed to be 1 cup of butter, 2 cups of sugar, 3 cups of flour, and 4 eggs, but that's a lot of eggs.
a lot of eggs. Protein, I guess.
Do you have your brownies plain though, or do you have it with like custard or cream?
I don't like custard and cream.
Ice cream?
Not
No,
with
custard
brownies,
or
you
cream.
freak.
I have custard with my brownies.
No, everything is
I
plain.
love it. Or cream. Cream does work. I'll give it that.
No.
And if you have ice cream,
Brownies with ice cream,
I agree.
but cold brownies on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. In terms of all mine, it's all with warm brownies. It's been warmed up, you know, and then
Rich.
Have ice cream with
Yes.
brownies when it's
I
like
have a
that.
microwave, people. Look at me.
You put in brownies in the microwave.
We have Belgian chocolate puddings in the fridge and they go in the microwave and it's
I
so
love
good.
them. It's, oh my god, have you heard those melt in the middle chocolate puddings?
That's
What they are.
Yeah.
Oh, they're amazing. It's,
So good.
it's the little pot ones as well. They're in like the little. I don't know what they're called,
We used to have the little ones. Now they're in like paper cups.
yeah, paper cups. That's what I meant because I used to have the pot ones, the proper ones, and those were just.
So,
Right, yeah.
Well, see what else that is.
guys, I don't even know how we got onto
Oh, we're
this.
talking about gummy bears.
Oh, yeah.
That travelled quite a bit.
So that's what the placebo effect is. So the main discussion of today is whether the placebo effect could replace painkillers, whether that's in its entirety or have maybe a combination of painkillers and the placebo effect.
Okay, so if you want to talk about the original treatment and why it's better than placebos.
Well, painkillers, the glaring benefit is that they do actually help in terms of biologically speaking, chemically speaking, they do benefit. The advantages being that, no, let's go up to the disadvantages, you know. There are some bad things. Or should you guys be talking about the disadvantages?
Well, you talk about the advantages and
Advantages?
the disadvantages of your thing. And
Got
then
it.
what's some of the advantages and disadvantages of placebos?
The advantages of painkillers are also that they have their scaling factor. The type of pain usually can be managed with different painkillers, that being from mild to very severe to the level of cancer in terms of dealing with that pain. Disadvantages, though, allergies. All of them could be countered if you are allergic to all of them, which would be very unfortunate, but it is possible, and you can be allergic to technically any of the painkillers, so that's a very big disadvantage if you are that person. Sorry to you out there. Um,
I'm not.
that's good for them as well.
I'm
Well,
also not allergic to anything, so I'm living life.
I'm only allergic to all of the types of pollen and sheep's wool and mold, so that's not
that's
that many.
quite a lot.
That's not that many.
Yeah, but it's like in the atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just
not that
allergic.
many though.
I'm allergic to the elastoplast, and that's it.
I'm not allergic to anything. I'm living my life.
I also used to be allergic to strawberries.
Oh,
I've
I know,
never
I'm
had
not
a
anymore,
peanut, so I don't know about those, but I'm sure
to be
they're.
fair, I haven't really had many nuts in my time.
I-
I'm not allergic to Nutella, so I think we're okay.
I'm not allergic to tree nuts or the other type of nuts.
I'm not allergic to donuts, thank goodness.
Uh,
Don't laugh at me.
Other disadvantages are also that you can actually die from painkillers, of course, if you overdose. In terms of the placebo effect, I don't think you can overdose on it. Unless actually could someone be convinced that they've taken too much and then their
Well, we'll talk about that later, Sam.
What's that shit name?
It's called the nocebo effect. We'll talk about it later.
Nocebo. Placebo. Anyway.
I know, right?
Now,
I love the placebo.
now, one big point to push out for why they are,
One big point.
yes, for why we should use painkillers over the placebo effect is because they actually relieve pain. And when I say this, what I mean is it ethical to sell a product that it is a drug that's supposed to be helping you when actually it is a fake? Legally, is that even allowed to do?
So
I don't
we'll
think
also
currently it's legally allowed.
talk about that later.
It would be false advertising.
That's our disadvantages. Stop stealing our territory.
What's an advantage of mine? It actually relieves the pain. It does what it says on the package. Would you like to go on your advantages, disadvantages?
Sure. So first, I think if we talk a little bit about how the placebo effect works, maybe starting with some of the biological influences that it can have in the brains.
In the brain. In the brain. So the placebo effect can have neurochemical responses. Placebos stimulate the release of endorphins, which are hormones or neurochemicals that reduce pain or stress, which there was so much debate as to what endorphins were. Oh my gosh. Is it neurochemical or is it a hormone? Who knows? It's both.
It's
It is both.
and neither.
It's
Are
both.
you close enough to the microphone?
Yeah, it's picking me up. I'm a loud person. It's good.
Actually, it's neither. That's the truth.
It's neither.
It is
Oh.
nothing. It's a concept.
When a person believes they're receiving a pain relief treatment, brain imaging studies have shown increased endorphin activity in areas like the anterior cingulate cortex. I know what that is, which is involved in attention, reward, and decision making and emotion. So it's like, wow, rewards and attention and emotion. And so it works, therefore, obviously. This means that placebos can mimic the effects of actual pain relief drugs, with probably being much less expensive. Which is pretty cool if you ask
How
me.
much is paracetamol?
I don't know.
In a box. Paracetamol.
How much does paracetamol cost?
I can hear Do You Want to Build a Snowman in the next room.
Do you want to go with it?
So paracetamol for 500 milligrams costs about 37 pence.
So one paracetamol.
Yeah, that's one paracetamol.
Costly.
But the gosh,
Stop interrupting.
the NHS spends around 136 million pounds a year on prescription medicines such as paracetamol.
Yeah, Sam,
On
that sounds
prescription
pretty
medicines.
Yeah,
Any prescription
no,
medicine.
prescription medicines that can be bought from a pharmacy or supermarket such as paracetamol.
That's a lot more than just painkillers.
Right, but that's what.
Yeah, but
big that I've got.
placebos aren't just painkillers, right?
What?
Placebos aren't just painkillers.
We're talking about it strictly in painkiller relative, though, aren't we?
We're talking about the placebo
Yes.
effect generally right now,
But
and
yes,
it's going to be applied to
yes.
the painkillers.
Yeah. Okay. Additionally, belief in a beneficial treatment can cause an increase in dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure, in the stratum, which is linked to reward processing. So it's like, wow, rewards from taking this very real painkiller. Spoiler alert, it's not a real painkiller. FYI. Um,
It's gonna be less effective if you tell them that.
That's for
no,
later, Sam. That's for later, Sam.
yeah. Stop stealing Ruby's thunder.
Oh wait. Oh wait. Do you hate men?
Sam.
This isn't painkillers, but in cases where the placebo mimics antidepressants, serotonin pathways may become more active due to the patient's belief in the effectiveness of the treatment. Which also, by the way, like if you believe that placebo will work, then it probably will, right? Even though
Yes.
if it is a placebo.
Yes, I want to talk a little bit about the expectation and belief systems that go into the placebo effect working. I'd just like to mention that it's also to do with conditioning. So when you take a real medication like a painkiller multiple times, that painkiller creates the response of, pain relief. So that's an unconditioned stimulus creating an unconditioned response. When you replace the active treatment, i.e., after repeated exposure, you receive a placebo instead, that neutral stimulus gets conditioned because it leads to the pain relief, because you associate the painkiller with the relief. So that is the first step of conditioning in the placebo effect into working, and that is where expectation ties into it. Where belief ties into it is operant conditioning. So belief in a treatment leads to expectation of improvement, and when that expectation triggers brain and body responses, the perceived improvement because of that expectation reinforces the belief, so the placebo effect will actually strengthen over time.
That's pretty gosh darn cool if you ask me.
If you ask
Sam,
me to.
have you got anything on your disadvantages about maybe something relating to that?
About the placebo effect?
No, about longevity of.
What about? Yes, to have worked that out, that means they would have had to have done human trials, which in turn is
That's
very.
not what I was
Sam,
referring
that is
to
not what we were
whatsoever.
asking.
What?
Over time, painkillers can wear off, right?
Yeah.
Like
You can develop an immunity
Oh, I thought I was
to the
going to try
effects
and
of
counter
painkillers.
that, but I guess
you
we'll.
can
No,
build on
I'll
it and
side
then
with
counter
it.
it.
I'll side with it then. I'll
You
agree
can
with
do
it.
both. It's a balanced argument.
Yes, painkillers do wear off, as a matter of fact. As you take in more medications, arguably, if you take too much, then it can lead to antibiotic resistance, in which, um, would that work actually?
See, is it antibiotic resistance? Because if
Because
that is that not just to antibiotics, biotics.
also, would that not be from a pathogen, a disease?
See, I don't think that's what we're
What's
talking
becoming
about.
resistance to a painkiller?
Wait.
Drug tolerance. In Cancer Research UK,
This only says opioids can become less effective with time, but it doesn't mention the other ones, which means, Ruby, you know how you don't take painkillers on your period because you're scared you're gonna grow an intolerance?
yeah,
You can do it and you won't grow an intolerance.
that's slay, but also I'm also worried that we'll run out of paracetamol because I have 50 bajillion sisters and they all need paracetamol for various things.
Fair enough.
But yes, opioids do fade off. This is called tolerance, whereas with the other two, to our very weak scientific understanding of a Google search, do not know if they do gain a resistance.
That's pretty cool. Anything else you could say to
Really
counter that?
cool. Um, of course, if we wanted to implement the system of using the placebo effect as a replacement, we would most likely have to continue human trials, as that's a stage in all medical trials. And then there's the argument of is it ethical to be lying to people and possibly putting them in pain by giving them, in brackets, painkillers, in brackets, in quotation marks, painkillers that are actually doing nothing
So
for
what you're
people to.
saying is the possible trialing that would need to go into the placebo effect are too unethical to actually justify,
Replacing it.
the means.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to
So,
combat that, we could use the BPS stuff, you know? If you debrief them afterwards and you tell them what was going on and the aim is the procedure, And then you tell them everything. You tell them about their right to withdraw and stuff, and you have to make sure that they're informed. And then you have to get them to sign a consent form, and then it's ethical.
This is before you'd be doing this.
No, afterwards, otherwise they'd know.
Yes, I think that's illegal.
Not
it's
illegal.
not.
I think it's
Yeah, but
it
it's
is-
science. It's not.
It is definitely
No.
something that is used in plenty of scientific.
I want to say it's illegal to test
It's
on
not.
humans if you do not tell them what the test is about.
Not with psychological testing.
Yeah, you don't do psychology.
You know, psychology is a whole
No.
different system. But it is also
No, what you're talking about, it's illegal not to tell them.
It's illegal to not tell people that you're drugging them. That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, when it's real drugs, you can't not tell them what the side effects of that are.
But the thing is, there is going to be real drugs because there's going to
Yeah,
have to be comparisons.
You can either be like, oh, some of you are going to get a placebo, some of you are going to get this. But that could also have possible implications like, oh, I don't have a placebo. Like, I have a placebo, so I won't expect it, and then it won't work. So you have to be like, okay, we're going to give you these drugs and see if the placebos work.
Yeah. So these are the drugs, these are possible side effects. Your test subjects, you've consented to this.
And then at the end, you tell them everything.
Yeah.
Including the aims, the procedure, what's going on, whether they have a placebo or not. You tell them that they can withdraw their data. You tell them basically everything, and you get them to sign a consent form, and that's how you combat it.
That makes sense. The unethical part, though, would be the people who receive the placebo effect and it doesn't work for them, to people who are in severe pain. Because I assume this would have to be tested on all degrees, depending on how far we want to go, the replacing factor.
Yeah, there is that
No.
to it.
But that's if it doesn't work on them. So you know what, 50-50, it may hurt them, may not. We'll see how that goes.
So, fun fact, the brain's endogenous opioid system is responsible for pain regulation and feeling euphoria. Placebo, a placebo analgesic can activate this system. In case you're wondering what that means, look it up. Which leads to a ton of pain relief. The effects can be blocked by naloxone, I don't know how to pronounce that, an opioid antagonist, confirming the involvement of opioids. So placebos can, in fact, trigger opioids, which is pretty cool. Brain imaging studies have shown that, fMRIs and PET scans have visualized changes in the brain activities and neurotransmitter levels during placebo responses. For instance, there is increased dopamine released in the stratum during placebo treatments for Parkinson's disease, which is pretty cool because it means it actually works. Enhanced endorphin activity in placebo-induced pain relief, which for this is very relevant because it's reducing pain for pain relief, and I feel like I don't know to explain it anymore. There is I can't say anything. Pharmacological evidence. If you go with that.
Pharmacological?
Probably. The use of antagonists like naloxone, which block opioids.
Oh, I love an antagonist.
Now I'm always with the protagonist, I've got to be honest.
Really?
Unless it's an enemies to lovers story.
Side characters for life.
I'm not a big fan of enemies to lovers, really.
No, enemies to
Really?
lovers is weird.
I like rivals to lovers, like academic
yeah.
rivals to lovers, but not enemies to lovers because there's murder involved, and that's not sexy.
Really? I feel like I'm not a fan of the academic to rivals to lovers.
You didn't like Never Have I Ever?
It's just
Is it because you
I
don't like
liked it.
when people are better than you?
I liked it. I liked it, but I didn't like them two together.
You wanted her to be with Paxton.
No, I didn't want her to be with Paxton.
Okay.
That's the whole thing.
She didn't end up with Paxton.
Yeah, I know, but she was a lot of the story. If you look at the first season, she ended up with Paxton. If you look at the second one, continue on. Who was that? Oh, do you mean him?
She ended up with, yeah.
I didn't like.
Ben,
I
right?
didn't,
Yeah.
Ben.
I didn't want them to.
Spoilers.
Well, although originally I wanted them to be together, then I didn't like how they ended it, and it ended up being him because I don't know whether they changed or it felt like him. Because I think
we got to go and
fantastic.
Dad's ashes.
Damn.
Yeah.
I did watch that. I don't know why I
That
thought
was
it was like a
weird.
new season or something.
Yes, but they had broken up just before that, I feel. Or there was something that happened before it that was like they're not going to end up together at all, and they really hate each other, and then they did it, and it felt random.
They were lovers and they were meant to be. So
I think she should have ended up with that skater guy. That was really hot.
Ethan.
That was really hot.
No.
She was in the right there.
No. He stole from the university person.
Yeah, no, he wasn't great, but he was attractive.
That's not. See, and now we know why he likes enemies to lovers. Anyway.
Anyway, how did we get here?
Antagonists.
Oh, yes. Continue.
The use of antagonists, like naloxone, which block opioids, or drugs that alter dopamine levels, demonstrates that placebo effects rely on neurochemical pathways. This can have real-life implications, such as chronic pain. Placebos can engage the opioid system, which provide real pain relief, reducing the need for medication in some cases, which is pretty cool. Also, Parkinson's disease and depression, but that's not really relevant. What were you going to do after that?
Context.
Yay!
So the effects we've just been talking about can be exacerbated by the context of the environment that the placebo is taken in. So one such context is patient-doctor interaction. So a patient's belief in their doctor and the treatment can influence a real physiological outcomes. Why? That's not grammar. Okay, whatever. Studies show that trust, empathy, and confidence from a doctor can boost the placebo response and improve health outcomes. So positive and negative framing, saying this treatment has helped many patients feel better quickly, can enhance expectation of recovery. But saying this treatment may not work and you might experience side effects can actually make side effects more likely due to anxiety. This is called the nocebo effect, where taking a placebo can lead to negative effects, such as side effects. I'm not going to, give you examples of side effects. If you've taken any medication ever, you'll know side effects. My side effects of my antihistamines I have to take may cause suicidal thoughts.
Oh, okay.
I've been experiencing side effects.
Not. I don't even get drowsy. I'm really good with.
A good job.
Oh, thank you. Patients may also respond to non-verbal cues like eye contact and tone, and more legitimate environments such as the white coat effect, which is where a doctor wears a white coat, you're more likely to kind of believe in and trust what they're saying.
That's fair. I believe someone in a white coat.
I wouldn't. I would believe them if they were in a hospital wearing a white coat. Anywhere else.
Well, GP.
Oh, hashtag legitimacy of authority.
Thanks, Milgram. Another thing that can enhance the placebo effect is ritual. So the treatment ritual, like taking a pill versus an injection, and injections actually work faster, which also suggests that the more kind of extreme, the more kind of extreme the medication is, the more extreme the placebo effect is. So if you were taking something that you believe to have more intense effects, like an opioid, whatever, that would have more enhanced effects than taking what you believe to be was paracetamol.
Pretty cool stuff.
Another thing is kind of expensive, like name brand medication versus something you can pop down to Tesco's and get. Because if you get it at Tesco's, you're like, oh, it's probably not as effective because it's not
approved by your GP.
Yeah, I don't take enough medication to know brands of medication. Sorry, guys. It's not Calpol, so you're not.
You can buy Calpol at Tesco.
Love Calpol.
Yeah, but it's like Tesco's own Calpol, I guess.
Caspo's?
Casper's. Love Casper's.
Yeah. So you don't believe in it as much.
Yum Calpol or Casper's? Both.
But
I actually miss taking Calpol so much.
I still take the melts.
Take it anymore?
Because we're too old for it.
Oh, is that actually an
Yeah.
age limit on it? It's a fact.
It's less powerful than paracetamol.
Yeah. I still take the melts though sometimes.
I guess if you're over 16, don't need to have paracetamol.
Yeah. No. No, I've been taking paracetamol since I was like...
It's like
I think-
13
yeah.
or
I
something,
think,
12.
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to be over 16.
No, that's only if you take
so
2
big.
pills.
What does Google say?
I'll tell you what the paracetamol packet says. It says 12 to 16 take 1.5 pills. 1 to 1.5. 16 and above take 2 pills.
This is
That's what it says.
confirmed over here.
And again, with the legitimacy, things like fancy machines and physical examinations make the patient more likely to experience the placebo effect.
Tablets from the age of 6 years.
I love. No, that says syrup.
No.
Children here
Well, seriously,
Yeah,
from the age of 2 months.
You have to take half a pill if you're 6 to something or other.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just love this. Can you buy paracetamol under 16? Technically, you could waltz into a store at any age and buy it. Just was a 1-year-old. Just waltz into the store. Actually, if a 1-year-old,
Technically, not literally.
if a 1-year-old waltzed into any store and bought something, I'd be impressed. Anyway, continue.
Oh, I'm done.
Did you finish your sentence?
Yes.
Okay. Some psychological effects of the placebo effect. The placebos can shift attention away from the symptoms. Believing in a treatment reduces hyper-awareness of discomfort or distress. So, like, say if you're like, you've got a headache and you're like, oh, I've taken the paracetamol, and you'll be like, okay, let me go do something else with the paracetamol's kicking. And then you're not thinking about it anymore, I guess. I don't know. It can also reduce anxiety from thinking about like improvement rather than like what's like your headache, I guess. Placebos can often reduce negative emotions like stress, anxiety, or fear, which is literally what I just said. Which can directly influence health outcomes. For example, this is literally what you were talking about. A confident doctor prescribing a placebo might ease the patient's anxiety, enhancing the placebo
That's the
effect.
same website, but it seems.
I would say so, yeah.
Believing in the treatment empowers patients and fosters a sense of control over their symptoms or conditions. Placebos can also often alleviate the uncertainty and fear associated with illness, like contributing to the relief system. So if you're like, oh, I don't know what's causing this headache, and then you're like, oh, paracetamol will take it away, and then your brain's like, oh, paracetamol will take it away, even though it's not paracetamol, and then it stops.
Disappointing.
What do you mean disappointed?
Then it stops.
You want your headache to continue?
Oh yeah, wait, wrong way around.
I hate headaches. When I get a headache, I will take paracetamol. I will take 2 paracetamols and just lie in my bed and wait for it to stop. I hate them so much.
I don't really get that many headaches.
I get
neither.
so many. I hate them.
I only ever get
I
like
hate them.
pension headaches. They're not that bad.
I used to get headaches, but then they just stopped after like
Luckily,
15.
I haven't had a cluster headache in so long. I had a migraine recently-ish, I guess. That sucked.
I've only ever had one migraine.
I
But
think I've never
it
had
was
one.
at like 10 o'clock at night and I was 7 and I was like, oh. And I was all dizzy and it was not a fun time.
I
Like-
walked home from school with the migraine at like 10 o'clock in the morning and I nearly fell over.
I'm sure that's bad.
Yeah.
I've never had one, so I can't actually.
They are
put myself
horrible.
into it.
The other type is tension headaches. That's the most common. I know a lot about headaches because I got a headache when I was in Turkey and I went up to my room and then Darcy came up and was like, hey, do you want to watch videos about headaches till it goes away? And I was like, sure.
So distracting you.
Yeah. But I also
That's-
took 2 paracetamol. So
That's
Okay.
not interesting. Guys.
He's such a face.
Also, is that placebo effect? Distraction. Yeah, but distraction is when you tell someone something.
But I'm sure the distraction also worked because then we started watching Vsauce and he was talking about are chairs real? His conclusion was no, by the way.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Okay,
Chairs
you
are not
can't.
real. Why not?
That's not what we're talking about right now.
But chairs aren't real.
But we can't have that discussion right now.
Do you think chairs are
Samuel.
real?
Samuel, this is not a
How do we
discussion.
get to Vsauce?
Samuel.
Then, huh? Who's
Samuel.
not Vsauce?
Samuel.
Who's not Vsauce?
Samuel.
Who's not Vsauce?
Samuel,
Who's a
this is
Vsauce?
not a conversation
Stop
that
it.
we're having right now.
Stop
Shut
it.
up.
Stop it.
Shut up.
Stop it.
Shut up.
Stop it.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Vsauce.
Shut up. Shut up.
Ooh.
How many things you guys are actual siblings?
Nah, we're not related. This
Really?
is optional. So now,
We couldn't be related because if we were related, he'd be older, and I would not accept that.
however, we do both wear glasses, so I guess we are right.
Twins.
Yeah, it's
We
real.
look exactly alike.
Okay, so why would you guys think it would be good as a replacement for painkillers as an entirety, though?
I wouldn't say necessarily as entirety, but
I would not either say no. I wouldn't say it would be in entirety too. Because of things like the ethical dilemmas which we were talking about earlier. Because the placebo effect is based on belief, does it justify lying to patients?
Obviously, you should be lying about like what medication you're giving someone, especially if you're like supposed to be a trusted GP. And placebos don't work for everyone. So it could be problematic if you're like, oh yeah, here's your medication, take it, and then it's just a placebo and it doesn't work. And they come back and they're like, to maybe like a different GP or something, and they're like, hey, this medicine didn't work for me, so like, oh, I'll prescribe you something stronger, and then it's a real thing, and then it's a bit too much, and like, that's not good.
Yeah.
Also, if we take into account other places of the world that do not have free healthcare, as we do here in the UK, I know. Oh my god, location reveal, guys. Don't find us in the UK.
Actually faking accents.
Yes.
These are real accents.
These are real accents.
These are real accents.
However, if you heard Haley's American during this, maybe I think there's 4 people. Anyway, in other places that aren't here and actually have to pay for their healthcare when they do it,
I'm very sorry for what's happening in America. That sucks for you guys.
Yes.
But like,
it's not great.
you kind of maybe brought it up on yourself.
You did vote.
You did vote. And if you didn't vote,
and if you're
that's
too
a bit
young, then
Sorry.
sorry.
It's fine.
But if you're old enough to vote and you didn't, that's a vote for Trump, and everyone knows that.
But anyway, in America, where healthcare isn't free, someone who received a placebo, let's say, but was told by the doctor that it was a painkiller, they would look back on their bank statement. What would they see? Placebo or painkiller?
Like if they're paying for a real painkiller and they're not getting a real painkiller, that's not okay.
That's not good.
But then they'll know because they look back on their bank statements and they'll see, oh, it's not a real pill.
You can't just like conceal the amount of money they spent from them because you can't do
that's illegal.
You can't overcharge them, so you'd have to write it down as a placebo, and therefore it could fail as a whole. Or they could actually just question the integrity of the hospital for not providing them with actual medication that's supposed to help.
However, there has been research that's shown that even if people know that it's placebo, it still works.
Yeah, they're called OLPs, open label placebos.
Partly because I think they're expecting the placebo to work, and then it does. Because they're like, oh, it's going to work, and then it does.
So patients are told they're receiving a placebo, but they still improve. Studies showed that OLPs work in pain relief, depression, and IBS. Which allows doctors, GPs, people to use placebos ethically in treatments.
Yay!
Now, there's one more point that is to bring up, I guess, which is with if we are going to, let's say, replace it with the low-level pain, management. How would you actually sell that? Because doctors cannot be all the time prescribing lower tier painkillers, so you have to sell them on the market.
I agree.
And therefore, would you be marketing them as placebos? And how many people would be willing to buy a placebo instead of the actual painkiller itself?
Yeah. And that's why we shouldn't replace them fully, I think. I mean, some suggest using placebos in cases where no real treatment exists. For example, certain chronic pain conditions. Which, I mean, I guess that could work, but at the same time, it's like, if the purpose of that placebo is to reduce pain, shouldn't it just be a real painkiller?
Yeah.
Especially with a chronic illness, of course, they're already struggling now. It's worth a try, but also, if you have the medication, why not use it?
Yeah. Just said that.
Yeah, but it's painkillers. Yeah, we do have the medication. All types of pain?
No, this is for chronic pain conditions, like the other kind of symptoms, like EDS, like hypermobility or hypermotility. I have one. I don't know, guys. I don't know.
Anyway, I think it's probably worth a try, and people should look into that.
Yeah.
Ethically, obviously.
Yeah. Other limitations, the placebo effect is definitely real. There's loads of studies to suggest or show that it's real, but it's often exaggerated.
Yeah.
It has small or short-lived effects, and it works best for subjective symptoms, but it rarely leads to lasting physiological changes. It's often just natural healing, so many improvements may be due to, or maybe often isn't the right word to use, but sometimes it could just be natural healing. It is ineffective for many conditions, like high-level ones or infections, cancer, high blood pressure. I've already mentioned the nocebo effect, which negative expectations can cause real harm.
Yeah. It activates the physiological pathway of the autonomic nervous system, which can lead to issues like nausea or sweating, because that's what's used in the fight or flight response.
Yes.
Also, like activation of stress hormones like cortisol can contribute to physical symptoms, which again, like nausea and sweating and stuff. Which I prefer to not feel nauseous personally.
I agree. I do like not feeling nauseous.
One of my favorite feelings.
Of course, painkillers aren't perfect, though. Although maybe it may be problematic ethically and in certain ways to be able to change to the placebo effect. Painkillers have very bad reactions with certain medications. It's limited. There are certain health conditions that just cannot have them be used at all in them, which can be very problematic for those people who are feeling pain and unable to treat it. So there are cases where definitely, yes, we will have to use the placebo effect as a hope that it will remove some of the pain.
Yeah.
As a more of a testing ground, but yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, would the placebo effect be good for like pregnant people? Because obviously drugs would be
yes, it would, because
messing with the embryo and
there
stuff.
are certain painkillers that you cannot actually have with
what me?
pregnant.
Dishonest?
Or over the age of 65, so maybe I'm referring to that. But there are certain ones that pregnant women cannot have, certain ones that people over 65 cannot have. There's a lot of restrictions within painkillers to certain people, which it builds up with all the different things it covers.
Ooh, also, if you've got young children in the house who can't be going around popping painkillers all the time.
all the time.
Yummy.
Placebos might be a safer alternative to have in your house instead of like actual painkillers, because then the baby could be like, oh, these look fun and colourful.
Oh, yummy.
Gummy bears.
Then if it's a placebo, they're just like, oh, that tastes gross.
Or broccoli. Courgettes was that. Brownies we get round to, and then I really don't know how we got to brownies.
If a child's ill, just be like, this brownie will help you.
So funny.
And the placebo effect, and boom. Or this broccoli will help you. Eating them veggies.
That's where the carrot myth comes from, that you'll see better at night.
I love carrots. I asked Mum to get some for me this week.
Also, if you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the one where Terry convinces kids to drink more milk because there are bunnies living in his stomach, but then they're worried that they drown the bunny, so then he had to buy 2 real bunnies.
Thing to do with the placebo effects.
It is to do with telling kids something that isn't true. It is a placebo effect.
I love buying
because they had that more
changes.
They had more of an urge for milk.
They didn't have more of an urge for milk.
Physiologically, they had less of an urge for milk because they thought that they were drowning the bunnies.
It wasn't a physiological need. It was more just like them being like, I don't want to have the bunny. They weren't like, I don't want to drink my milk. They're like, I don't want to have the bunny.
They don't want to drink milk anymore.
Fair, they weren't wrong though. Milk is disgusting.
It is.
Not that bad.
Milk is awful.
I just wouldn't have it on its own. I'd have it in a tea.
Why do you like milk so much?
I don't say that. So, any more points?
I mean, I guess with the placebo effect, ordinary feelings such as a twinge of discomfort might be misinterpreted as significant symptoms. So if you take a placebo and then, like, I don't know, you get pins and needles in your arm, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die, there are pins and needles in my arm, oh my gosh. and then for the rest of the day you're going around with pins and needles in your arm because you think that's a side effect, and then you go to your doctor like, I've got pins and needles in my arm. You're like, you shouldn't have. That's not what your medication does, and also I didn't give you medication. I gave you a placebo.
But then you reveal that on them.
And it's like, you what? And then they slap the doctor.
So,
So that's an ethical issue, I guess.
Yeah.
Doctors getting hurt.
so any more points?
I think just the final takeaway from this discussion, placebos can help with perception-based symptoms, but can't cure diseases or replace medical treatment, and they're best used alongside real medicine, not as a substitute. Like, for example, birth control. When you take birth control, you have a couple like regular actual birth control pills and then sugar pills. So it kind of, if you need to take pain relief regularly, it kind of helps you stay on the track and maybe also extends the pain relief symptoms.
Yeah.
Effects.
Especially with opioids, which you can grow an immunity to.
Yeah.
It would help to reduce the immunity because, like, obviously it's not, like, the actual thing.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've said it like 5 times today.
Pretty cool. That's
Pretty
awesome.
cool.
Is that we done?
I think that's it.
Sam, say goodbye.
Thank you guys for listening to the Societal Lens. This was the part of the convex group.
The better part.
Yep. See you maybe in the next episode.